Hello, and welcome to the Light and Love Box channel. This morning, we are going to be exploring the world of guidance and all that means. Here at Light and Love Box, we try to inspire people to work with pure light and love. And that's the source that we are looking to help you find your guidance. I am Joe Courier.
And I'm Tracy Anderson. Welcome to the Light and Love Box channel. You are part of a growing community bringing peace, possibility, and prosperity to help transform our world with light and love.
Well, we get to explore the entire aspect of what guidance means to you and I this morning. And I think it's really important to note that there is guidance from so many places, things that are guiding us from inside of ourselves, things that are guiding us externally. And one of the important things that you and I spoke about earlier was that a lot of that guidance is unseen. And that unseen guidance is exciting and wonderful and loving and positive, but sometimes it's really hard to trust or tap into.
With that comes, I think, one little special thing that does occur with unseen guidance. I believe there are so many signs and signals that are happening around us that sometimes it's just a matter of us slowing down a little bit so that we can see those things that the unseen is trying to communicate.
And those signs and signals aren't just like arrows pointing us in a direction. They're also validations. They're like,
Mhm.
yes, you're on the right track. Or, you know what? Good job. Keep doing this. That sort of thing. And when we do slow down and recognize that there are all kinds of ways that the universe, that spirit, that our guardian angels and our guides and our ancestors talk to us, then we begin to recognize and hone in on those more and more.
So you just mentioned the guardian angel, and I was in a period where I was kind of transitioning to traditional beliefs about the unseen and to where I'm at today. And I was introduced to a book. It was about guardian angels. And at the time when I was kind of making this transition, I was feeling very alone in life. And this book brought to light that at the moment of conception, at that very spark of life, we have a guardian angel that comes in and is with us for our entire life. While certain spirit guides, spirit animals,
Teachers,
yep, they might come in and out. You have this guardian angel that stays with you all the time. So even
I
in your,
truly believe that, Tracy.
yeah, even in your darkest moment or your darkest thoughts, you have someone there with you that cares for you and is a being of light and is helping guide you.
Yeah.
And it just takes asking, reaching out to them for that guidance.
Yes. And I believe that not only do we have guardian angels, call them whatever you want. I mean, angel is a word that many people connect with, but just a being of light and love that follows us through every lifetime and that they know us better than we know ourselves. And so they are there, but we have free will. So we can't just assume that they're always going to step in and swoop us up. You know, our moms and our grandmothers, our dads, whoever it was, when we were little, that's what they did. They would just swoop in and pick you up if you were in a place of harm. But with an angel or a being of light, we have to ask. And all it takes is one time. And
Mhm.
once we ask, they swoop in, and we may not recognize exactly how they're helping us, but they do.
One of the things I know probably is a question that's on a lot of people's mind is how do you know which beings are trying to help or which beings are trying to guide you in the right directions, and how do you actually, discern that?
Yeah, and that's a really good point because there are many beings that may seem positive and loving and they may not be. So you always have to, this is my experience, go into a place where you are truly feeling connected within yourself, feeling like you are in that meditative place, that you are in a place where you are asking to connect only with truly loving, positive, pure, holy energies, whatever that means to you. And there are techniques to do that. We can do that through meditation. We can do that through an ancient practice called shamanic journeying. There are many ways, but you just have to validate. So if you encounter a being, an angel, or some source of assistance for you, ask them, are you here for my highest good? And you know what, if you don't get the sense that they are, then you just say, no thanks. Move on. And then you keep asking for the person, the guide, the guardian, the angel, the ancestor to come and help you. Okay.
Yes, and the guidance ritual box that we have put together this month, um, I think really helps to create that space because the way that it's set up, it asks those beings to come into this space that you've created.
And we do
And
that with every light and love box.
yes,
Set
exactly.
that intention of that bubble of light and only that which is for your highest good.
Yep, can enter that space where your altar is set.
Right. Right.
So I think that's a really great opportunity to create that space, you know,
Yes.
each month, of course, but specifically to the ritual that's going to be done in relationship to guidance.
Exactly. And that then becomes a framework that people who are participating in the Light and Love Bach rituals can go ahead and take to other things that they do in their life. It doesn't have to be just with a light and love box. It becomes a way for them to truly set up a methodology to connect with their angels and ancestors. I, I want to give just a little bit of an aside. So when I started working in this space of, with angels, ancestors, guards, guardians, teachers, that sort of thing, I set up a framework and said, and specifically, if I see flashing lights with my eyes open in an unasked for situation, then I assume it's a crossed over loved one because I see angels and guides in a different way. And recently I went to visit my daughter and our grandson, and he's 3. And so I still get to rock him to take his nap, and I still get to rock him to, go to sleep. And as I do that, I know I'm reading him a book or I'm rocking him and kissing his forehead, and there's a blue light that sparkles around him. I know it's my mom because when I see that, I feel her presence. And that's the type of thing that I hope people can begin to set up and recognize that
Mhm.
when you say, yes, I feel like you are my mom or whoever it is, let this always be the signal for that. It's really important that you come up with a methodology or a framework. And like you said, this month's guidance box helps people begin to explore, if they haven't already, how to do that.
I guess I had never considered setting up those types of parameters. That's a really interesting perspective because I think that our guides, ancestors, angels, I think they do want to communicate with us. I think they want to reach us. So if
Yes.
we can put those types of things out there, like what you mentioned,
Mhm.
that is very personal and specific for you, I think they're excited that you've even reached out in that way and you want to be communicated with.
Yes. And going back to our original thought of connecting with the unseen, sometimes when people see flashing lights, they immediately go to a physical. They think, oh, something's happening with my eyes. You know what? It doesn't mean that necessarily. I'm not saying that that isn't an indicator of some things that are physical, but when you are asking to connect with unseen beings of pure light and love, you're going to get a signal or a sign. And it can be a flashing light or a glow or whatever it is, a smell. You know
And
what? I know it's my dad with the smell of roses. I just do.
well, and smell is such a powerful connector in the brain.
And it creates a great association.
Some of my recent readings that I've been doing, emotions are what really help us to connect to those things. So the more powerful those emotional connections, I think the more it kind of opens up those possibilities to make those connections with the unseen.
I agree. I agree. So let's talk about guidance for just a minute and how guidance can come to us, because we have talked about the unseen, which implies it comes externally,
Mhm.
recognizing that it is something that is those signs, signals, those implications that we aren't alone. But then we also have that guidance, which is, I call it that internal light, that truth cord within each of us. And we
Mhm.
have to trust that, to tap into it, because it's not really a head thing. It's not a thinking space to come into and logically understand. It's truly one of those places where we have to connect with our hearts, with our solar plexus, with our intuitive side, and in our intuitive brain as well. And guidance this month talks about doing things from a logical and a space that is not as logical. So when we get into that logical brain, we think we have to be able to validate whatever is going on around us. We think that we have to make sense of it. And we really don't. We have to just trust and leap and expect the joy and expect the best.
It's almost like that concept of childlike faith. Sometimes you gotta just jump in and go with what you're feeling and acknowledge it. And I think so often we're taught to reject those types of feelings and really you gotta just go with it. You
Yes.
just gotta do.
That childlike faith, the wonder that we once had about everything around us, to hold on to that is so important. And if people can take the rituals from the light and love box and even do that in a setting that is an outdoor setting, that allows you a lot of times to be in that place of connecting with nature, connecting more readily with the unseen, and bringing back that childlike innocence, because that's where we would find it a lot of times, is running outside with our feet in the grass and the flowers like you have all around you.
I had a pretty interesting experience the other day in relation to nature. And I know I like say it all the time because life is busy, right? There is so much going on all the time and there's a lot of times we don't take a moment to slow down. And it was Mother's Day and
uh,
I had gotten these hemp cords that were going to hang lanterns out in my cedar space.
mhm.
And so my son helped me find exactly what I needed so I could hang those lanterns. And when we were all done and the space was kind of cleaned up for the season, I sat down in my chair that's out there and I closed my eyes and all of a sudden it's like I came into connection with everything that was around me. And it was like this intense pulsing that was happening in that space. And it brought so much peace and so much happiness. And I think that those kinds of things are actually going on all the time. It's just us coming into a space where we can sense it, see it, feel it. And
Yes.
then once you're there, then being able to take that leap like, oh, I'm
Yes.
in this space. I'm going to go with my gut, go with my intuition, and move forward.
Yes. And you know what? We talk a lot about manifesting your best life. Well, your best life means finding those moments of joy. It doesn't mean that you're going to have tremendous financial abundance. It doesn't mean that everything in your life becomes a perfect pathway, that there's no worries and no cares. We don't grow and learn when we have that type of perfect experience. And I don't think it exists, Tracy. I
I don't
just
think
don't.
so either.
I think we always have the opportunity to grow, but when we do it from a place of just really understanding that we have guides, guardians, ancestors, all of those people helping us, we're never alone, and we can move forward and grow. I used to use the expression, I would be working with some of my clients, and I would say, I think we as human beings come into each lifetime so for the growth and the delight of our soul. Well, the delight is easy to experience, right? But that growth piece, ooh, after the growth, then sometimes we go back and we can recognize, oh, thank goodness. Now I can understand or I realize why I went through that. And it's not always perfectly joyful delight, but it is the delight in knowing I have changed for the better. I am a person within myself who is loving myself more, who is calmer, who has a better relationship with others. You know what? Your internal guidance translates out to those around you. And you begin to then give that guidance of that calm, that peace, that, okay, take a deep breath and then move on to those around you.
So this does remind me that as we're going through this process, just remember sometimes it takes a little bit of patience, and be open to waiting a little bit so that you make those connections that you're trying to make.
Let
It's
things
okay.
unfold.
Yes, let them unfold. Be still, be calm, be patient. Because when we do come to that space, amazing things do unfold.
I agree 100%.
All right, so we invite those of you who wish to dig a little bit deeper to check out the links below and consider joining us in our monthly energy-based practice that we participate in through Light and Love Box. Those boxes help you to focus on healing your spirit, soul, mind, body, and emotions so that you can live your best life.
Yes, in a very loving and positive way. So we thank you for listening to us today, and we invite you to subscribe to our channel. Click the notification bell so that you'll be notified when new content is released. And we are hoping that you will continue to join us and discover how Light and Love Box is helping you individually and the world collectively to understand what it is to live in a place of peace, prosperity, and possibility. So thank you.